Hello and welcome to the Tottenham America channel. Today we will be trying out a new format of video in one called the 5 takeaways video, where a day after Tottenham play, we'll do a video where we just briefly explain our thoughts a day after full time and kind of a whole overview of the match, as opposed to, instant match reactions. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the like button if you enjoy our content and want to see more 5 takeaway videos, and make sure you comment down below what your 5 takeaways from Eintracht Frankfurt versus Tottenham Hotspur in the UEFA Champions League group stage are. Without further ado, let's start with our first takeaway. A draw in the Champions League is not at all a bad result.
It was good that we held off Frankfurt, because now the playing ground is pretty even in our Champions League group, and no one's really behind. If anyone, that would be Marseille with 1 win, 2 losses. Spurs and Frankfurt are both sandwiched in the middle between Sporting and Marseille. Sporting, who have 2 wins and 1 loss.
Yeah, Sporting are the only ones that really are ahead. It would have been awesome for us to get a win, definitely.
Yeah.
But a draw is not a bad result. We saw how incredible their fan base is at their stadium. Like, they were singing their hearts out. So it's understandable that we're not going to get, a huge result there.
And they were Europa League champions last year.
Yeah, so that's not like they're some random bogey team from Germany. We're not in the Europa League anymore. This is the Champions League. You're expected to drop some wins, some losses. You're not going to win every single game, which we've seen with Sporting, with Frankfurt. But yesterday was definitely a good performance. It wasn't like it was a bad performance at all.
It was only our front 3 not linking up at all.
Yeah, but our midfield and defense were excellent. And it's probably, I think it's been one of our best Champions League performances this season, because against Marseille, we came up in like the 75th minute, and that's when we turned it on. And then Sporting, we were just not there. So, I think against Frankfurt, we had a lot of build-up. We just could not finish it.
I feel like Sporting was very similar to against Frankfurt, except our defense held stronger. Against Sporting, we did not take our chances, kind of like Frankfurt earlier in the game. But then at the end, our defense just completely fell off, and we conceded 2 very late goals. But that wasn't the case against Frankfurt, where late in the game, we were actually on the front foot.
Yeah. Our second takeaway is that Kulusevski is a vital player to Spurs, and we've seen that with the way Richarlison has been playing in a front 3 with Kane and Son. Kulusevski brings that dimension of attack and, the build-up, I think, because Conte doesn't like playing with a creative midfielder. So Kulusevski brings that drive into the penalty box, which Richarlison just can't do because he acts like a striker.
We can't. That's why we can't play Richarlison on the right-hand side. Maybe we could on the left side. If Son is out for a game, I think Richarlison could go on the left side, because he can kind of veer into the center and cut in on his right foot whenever he has the ball on the wing. And to bring crosses in, Perisic could always come up, and we know he always does that. On the right side, there's Emerson. We know he's not the best crosser, so...
Yeah.
On the right side, it just doesn't work with Richarlison. Kulusevski has to be there, and he's so vital to us.
He's such a good player as well. I don't think any of us expected this when he came in January. And in his first match against, I think it was Southampton, we lost 2-3. No, it was Brighton in the FA Cup. And he was kind of slow. He just kept losing the ball. We were like, nah, this guy's going to turn out decent. Who knew that 6 months later he's turned into an absolute 6 months later he's turned into a vital part of Tottenham, and probably an undroppable forward except for injury, which is exactly what he's going through right now and why we're struggling. Because we need a player like that. We don't Son can do it, but he's not doing it this season.
He did it a lot against Frankfurt, but the problem was that he wasn't playing well against Arsenal. Yeah. Arsenal was a real problem. Yesterday, Son played brilliantly. He was creating chances and everything, but that wasn't the case against Arsenal. His last final touch was really bad, though.
Yeah. Kane can't do anything. He's a striker. He's doing his normal drop back stuff, and Richarlison is built like a striker. He's not built like a winger like Kulusevski is, like a creative winger. He's built like an out-and-out scorer, goals forward. So that's why I think yesterday we saw a lot more coming through the midfield rather than the wingers in terms of creativity. It wasn't enough because our midfielders are 2 defensive midfielders. I mean, Højbjerg is a defensive midfielder, and Rodrigo Bentancur acts like a defensive midfielder because of the way we play them. So we're never going to really, like, the midfield, as much as they did yesterday, they're not going to be able to replicate that of Kulusevski. So Kulusevski is easily our most important player in the top three, in the front three. Yeah?
Definitely.
Third takeaway.
Third takeaway is a real need for a number 10 creative player. We know Conte does not like a creative midfielder and he likes to have wingbacks, but there is a formation where there's a solution for that, like a 5-3-2. You could have your 2 wingbacks and then 3 midfielders. That would be Højbjerg and Bentancur, but then one midfielder, being the number 10, would push up.
Or, of course, the 3-5-2 works just like that. And I think we saw a 3-5-2. I can't remember what match it was, but we turned into a 3-5-2 at the very end of the game. I think it might have been Leicester. We just, turned into a 3-5-2, bringing Basuma on, and we played much better. Yes, 70th minute. And after that, that's where Son got his hat-trick. So we saw the effects of it. I don't know if it would work every single game, but a lot of games, it would definitely, it could work. It could easily work. And so I know Conte doesn't like a creative midfielder, and he can't play with a number 10, but if you play a 3-5-2, you have the option to play a slightly more creative midfielder. We just don't have one like that. And
we've seen Bentancur and Højbjerg's good moments where they've had some great creative moments.
Yeah.
Just through balls.
Yeah.
I feel like at times we need more than that.
Yeah. They just, they have too many defensive responsibilities. To be able to go up that far and create like that, they have too many defensive responsibilities in a 3-4-3 as opposed to a 3-5-2 where, you already have one holding midfielder in, say, Basuma. So then Højbjerg and Bentancur can advance a little bit because they're, I think, are our most attacking midfielders. Or you drop Højbjerg back and let Basuma and Bentancur go forward. Of those.
Or you could just let one go forward and bring two back. I think if anyone, Bentancur would go forward.
Yeah, Bentancur would go forward, Basuma and Højbjerg. So there's a lot of different options, and I think a 3-5-2 would work really well. And I'm honestly surprised that we didn't at least try it against Arsenal. But it is Conte's decision, and he probably saw something in training that he didn't like. Let's move on to the fourth takeaway.
The fourth takeaway is that LENGLET is all that.
He is that guy. He came from Barcelona in the summer. I don't think we had the highest expectations from him, knowing he was, kind of out of favor.
This was kind of like a last-minute transfer just to get a center back. We did not know LENGLET was going to be this good, and he was at a downfall at Barcelona.
Yeah, he only made 21 appearances last year. And 7 of them were starting appearances. So he significantly fell down the pecking order at Barcelona. And then he's come here and he's started his life off at Tottenham very, very well. And I think Frankfurt was probably his best match. He's just ridiculously composed. Oh, Marseille, Fulham, those were also good matches. But I'm really happy with the way he was able to link up with Romero, who finally started performing after his injury, and Arsenal and those couple of troubles, and then Dyer. So that back three, I think, is solidified for some time to come, because with Romero actually playing well, that's easily the best back three you have.
Still, no need for Ben Davies and no need for Sanchez.
So that's backups.
Good backups. Yeah. We have some good squad depth in defense now.
Which is important, because if we have to make it out of the Champions League, group stage. I think that's almost a requirement given this group and the fact that we have 2 home games left. We have to make it out of the group. So I think, we're going to have a lot of squad rotation, because we're going to be playing every single week. And then the World Cup doesn't help, because there's a month and a half off for that, which means that more Premier League games need to be clumped together. So it's going to be a very, very interesting couple of, the rest of the season with this defense. And hopefully I think this rotation will go well. Our last takeaway is how consistent Højbjerg and Bentancur have been and how crucial they are to us. We saw it a lot yesterday, because they were easily the best players on the pitch, but they've been the best players on the pitch every time our defense and forwards don't perform, which was against Arsenal, which was against Sporting, even, they were good. And so many other games where we were average up front, maybe still got a win, lucky win, but we were average up front and average in defense. Højbjerg and Bentancur really pull through. And I see so many people sometimes trying to, say, oh, maybe Basuma needs to come along because he's good or whatever. Give Skip a chance.
There's no room for that.
There's no room, there's no need. Højbjerg and Bentancur have been an unstoppable force in midfield this season. And Conte sees that with the fact that he hasn't changed it up yet. The only problem with Conte is that he doesn't switch it up enough for Champions League midweek.
Yeah, I think Basuma or Skip, one of them needs to come into the starting lineup.
We should have rotated for this game because I think it was it's too close to a game. We played on Saturday at a North London derby. Then we go to Germany on Tuesday and we play at a 3 o'clock Eastern time match. I don't think that's way too much for a lot of these players. And I think we saw it with Perisic because he faded a lot, I think, in my opinion. He just did not do as well as he could have against Frankfurt, and that's probably down to rotation.
Yeah, we need, I think, Brighton, if it's possible. I think we should start Sessegnon on the left, and then Doherty on the right. If it's possible, I think Perisic just needs a rest.
Yeah, but honestly, even then, we've got, 5 days until Saturday, 4 days. So we've got a good rest. It's more the rotation between the tight games, like a Saturday to Tuesday or a Sunday to Wednesday. Because then, a Tuesday to Saturday break is, I think, more than enough. It's enough for most players.
Definitely enough. And we've seen Højbjerg and Bentancur. They've been playing every game.
They're gonna...
And still, they're there, but we need to rest them soon.
Yeah, because if we don't, we're gonna have some injuries soon. And that's not going to be very fun, the way Conte is always used to, having the same lineup game in, game out, and trying to start the same players. In Europe, that's just not going to fly, I don't think. So we need to start having a little bit of rotation with, we've got Basuma, we've got Skip back. So we've got so many of these players that I think can easily get a chance. And I think, I don't know, eventually it should be time to rotate. I just don't know if Brighton is the right chance. Maybe Everton, maybe Bournemouth. We have Bournemouth on October 29th, so that would be a good match too.
Or just any game. We can bring them on as subs, because we have 5 subs now in the Premier League. So we can bring them on any game where we're up at least a 3 or 2 goal deficit.
Yeah, that's true. But that is it for our first 5 takeaways video. If you enjoyed, make sure you smash the subscribe button. Let us know if we should do more videos like this. Comment down below what your 5 takeaways are from Frankfurt versus Tottenham. And until next time,
come on, you Spurs!